Hey everyone, welcome back to the Catholicpreneur podcast, where we talk to Catholic entrepreneurs, Catholic creatives, Catholic business people who are making waves in the Catholic space. Today we have a special guest. I'm excited to chat with him, Chase Crouse. He has a new platform that he's launching, and I'm just going to bring him on in to tell you more about it. So, Chase, how are you doing?
Hey, good, Mitch. How's it going?
Good. Doing well. I appreciate you hopping on. Why don't you just start by introducing yourself and what you do?
Sure. So my name's Chase Crouse. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Hypuro Fit. So we're the world's first Catholic-based personal training and nutrition coaching company. So we offer one-on-one coaching, but also we have an app in the App Store for people to subscribe, like any other fitness app. And yeah, we launched in 2020, and I'm a husband and a father, which is why I have a baby lock on the other side of that door. Uh, yeah, my wife and I live just north of Austin, Texas.
Very cool. What made you get into fitness? Like, take me back to the early days of your journey.
Yes. I mean, I grew up playing sports. Growing up in Texas, you're kind of required to try and play most sports. Grew up an athlete, and so it's kind of just part of my life for a long time. But after my conversion, I did some mission work and went into ministry for a while, and actually did my master's in biblical theology, and thought I was going to do mission work for a long time. And then I started moonlighting as a personal trainer to kind of help pay the bills. My wife and I lived in New York City, where I worked for the Archdiocese of New York, and just found out that I loved it. I loved working with people in this way. I loved helping people, and that was back in 2018, 2019. But then it kind of just got tired of working in a secular space. I was working in a big box gym, and there's a lot of reasons that kind of made me mad about it. But ultimately, I was talking to a buddy of mine and kind of venting about all the things I didn't like about it. And he's like, "Man, I'm sure there's some Catholic fitness company you could just work for." And this is 2019, and so I went on Google, and there was nothing. I saw that this might be a cool opportunity. We started Hypuro Fit, and we've blown and going from there.
Wow, very cool. So, I guess this was born from a need that you had. Um, Talk me. Did you think you were going to be an entrepreneur, or like start something like this, or did it just you kind of stumbled into it based off of
Oh yeah.
necessity?
No, totally stumbled into it. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, in fact, I mean, I recently went into it full time. So the first 4 years, we just bootstrapped this whole thing, right? We're not private equity backed. We didn't take out any loans or anything like that. It was kind of just a cool way. We found that we could help people. And then, it kind of just grew organically. We had some really cool partnerships along the way that kind of put us on the map, and some bigger things as well, kind of later on. And, it was kind of just one of those things that, like a lot of entrepreneurs that I've learned since accepting the fact that I'm an entrepreneur, we almost quit a few times, being like, what's the point of this? It's so stressful. But we just really wanted to help Catholics and help people, and make a healthy church. So it's kind of passion turned necessity turned, okay, wow, this is an actual thing now. And, and here we are.
Yeah. Well, so to that point, like, what was the biggest learning curve? Like, when you were pivoting from like personal training to like we're establishing a business. What
Yeah.
were those days like?
Yeah. So I knew nothing about marketing. I knew nothing about ads. I knew nothing about cash flow and profit and all these things. And so, I mean, fortunately, for the first few years, because I did have another full-time job, it allowed me to kind of experiment without having to take a lot of actual risk. Like my livelihood wasn't at stake. I had a roof over my family's head and stuff. And so, but yeah, I did do a lot of trial and error. I had, early days, we had a lot of stuff and ideas that just weren't good, and we had to learn from that and pivot away from it, and accept the fact that not everything I'm gonna put out is gonna be the best thing since sliced bread, right? And being okay with that, and also too accepting the fact that I don't need to win the internet. I don't need millions and millions of clients. I mean, that'd be cool, but I need the people that like what I do and go after them and target them, and to be okay with that, and be okay with people that don't like what I do, and that's fine. Yeah. But yeah, most recently getting into the paid ads world. We just started doing paid ads like at the end of last year, just because like, oh, I guess this is something we should do. And so, learning to navigate that and Facebook ads and all that. I mean, that's just a different world for me. I mean, I'm a theology major turned personal trainer, nutrition coach turned entrepreneur, right? So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of learning along the way.
But yeah, what was so the learning aspect in the beginning? What was like the response when you first launched this? Like, were you able to, like, how did you get the word out?
Yeah, a lot of just initially was we created a website, created an Instagram, and just like blasted like our I had a co-founder, Ben West, originally, and so we were just kind of blasting out our own networks and stuff. And I was working at a parish at the time, so like they kind of heard about it. And the thing that really actually put us on the map was in 22. My co-founder had already kind of stepped back from the company because he had 3 kids under 3, and he's like, bro, I can't do it. I'm like, that's fine. But we were still good friends. He actually met a guy who works for this company called Exodus 90, which is a Catholic men's ministry. They have like 50, 60,000 guys go through their program every year. And he introduced us, and that was the partnership that kind of put us on the map. And so they let us kind of create a workout and post it on their app, but like with our branding and our website and all this kind of stuff. And so that was kind of the first launching point that kind of gave us a lot of credibility, like, oh, like these guys are actually who they say they are. And it kind of got word out. And the second launching point for us was in 24, beginning of 24. Another bigger apostolate called the Avila Institute, this guy named Dan Burke, Googled Catholic personal training, and our SEO is good, and so we were the first thing that popped up. And then he had a good experience, and he has thousands of people on his email list and all these things, and so he started sharing about us just because he had a good experience. And then the last thing was Catholic Vote, who has like 500,000 people on their email list, put us on a few emails, right? So it was just kind of key partnership, key relationship after key relationship that kind of put us where we are.
Yeah. No, that's super cool for you to walk through that, like kind of how that works. Cause like, there's a lot of different ways to get the word out, obviously. And now you're kind of tackling social media, but
Yeah.
the kind of networking partnership aspect, email lists seem to be important. Just like that's a huge deal. What's it been like now? If you're taking kind of steps to focus more on paid social media, what's been the
Yeah.
learning curve there? Like what kind of actions are you taking there that people could learn from?
Yeah. So one, we already had uh budgeted like revenue, like we're making enough profit to say, okay, we have this profit, we have this money. Could I pay myself out? Yeah, I could, but we wanted to grow in this way. And we officially launched a new custom app this past year too. So we had the back end systems in place to handle a lot of larger intakes, the automations, and all these kind of things. So without that, I don't think I would have been as comfortable because last year when Catholic Vote first blew us up, we didn't have the automations in the backend systems, and it was just a gong show. Fortunately, I had a sales guy that was helping me out, but yeah. So you don't know what you don't know, and so while I could spend a lot of money on like randomly boosting things and trying to navigate the Meta Business Suite on my own, I'm fortunate. I have some good friends here in the Austin area that they have a media and ads agency. And so I reached out to them and said, hey, I don't want to like just flush money down, the toilet forever, like, but I need help with this, right? And so I'm willing to pay you to one, like shoot some good content for me, run this ads, but also like teach me like what to look for, right? And so yeah, so fortunately, I had the capital to pay them, and that really that whole process started in like March, April, and so we're just getting through the initial like A/B testing. And this month, next month, we're gonna start. We found the things that have started to work and that have good CAC and all that good stuff. And so we're gonna put some more money into it this next month or so. But yeah,
Nice.
I've just accepted the fact that like this is not my bandwidth. It's not my wheelhouse. I do need to learn it, right? But there's only so many things that books and like courses and stuff can teach you. I wanted somebody who's like, hey, you've done it before, you've had success. Teach me your ways, right?
Right.
Want
Yeah.
I don't want to have to go through and spend more money messing up and not knowing what to look for, right? So I never would have made 15 different versions of my ad like they did. They,
Right.
different hooks and different outros, different calls to action. I would have made like one or two probably, and apparently that's not the way you do it. So
100%. No, that I like that lesson too. Just like knowing what you're good at, what you want to focus on, and like kind of like bringing in some expertise to handle some of the other areas. So that's
Yeah.
good to hear. So if I'm a Catholic who wants to get fit, like what kind of explain your services, your products, all that would be available for me to like check out.
Yeah, so for the low ticket offering, we have like an app in the App Store. It's like $15 a month, like a lot of other apps that you've probably tried to. The cool thing about ours is we have dozens of different workout programs if you want to work on the gym or home or anything like that. We also have like a food log, macro tracker, barcode scanner, a community board so you can like ask questions. You actually have access to me too, like directly, even if you're a subscriber. And so that's a cool thing because a lot of people either can't afford or just like don't really want one-on-one coaching. But that being said, there are a lot of people who do want it, and so we also offer one-on-one coaching. I have a team of coaches that work for me. There's 11 of us total, and so men, women, everybody from like their 20s. We have a coach in his 40s, so that's kind of the age range. So depending on where you're at in your life. And so, yeah, the one-on-one coaching experience, we create custom exercise plans, nutrition plans. We journey with the client. So a lot of coaching programs is like, oh, we'll create a quote unquote custom plan for you and then you get entered into this like group coaching call kind of thing, which is fine. It's just not our style. Our one-on-one's truly one-on-one. Like you get partnered with the coach and you'll have check-ins throughout the month, like a one-on-one phone call with your coach and stuff like that. So we've kicked around the idea of like the group coaching call method because it's a lot of online people do it, just not our style. So we haven't done it yet, but yeah, so that's what we do. So we have coaches, we have clients all over the world. Cool thing about having an app, it means you can work with anybody anywhere, right? So but yeah, so we've been doing that for about 4 or 5 years now. It's been working well. So
Very cool. So I was looking at your website too. Some of the highlights are just like how this involves like the theology of the body. So there's the Catholic
Mhm.
aspect of it. Talk to me
Yeah.
about how that kind of interweaves in this whole idea.
Yeah. So one thing I like to say is that we're authentically Catholic, but we're technically excellent, right? So all of our coaches, authentic disciples of Jesus Christ. We're going to pray with you and for you every single day, but we're not going to give you like a rosary workout kind of thing, just because like I don't know what that would be. So we're not going to try to like reinvent the wheel. Like, no, we're going to give you exercise and nutrition advice and protocols that are based on the latest science and data that we have at our disposal. Now, that being said, our why, kind of the foundation behind why we do what we do and what we want to teach our clients about is stemmed from the theology of the body and from Pope St. John Paul II. And essentially what the lens that he sees the world through, that he reads scripture through, is from Gaudium et Spes. And it's the line that, man can't find himself unless he learns to give of himself. But what JP2 will add to that, and that's kind of our light bulb moment, was while that's true, self-gift is impossible without self-mastery because you can't give what you don't have. So if we're all called to give of ourselves fully, like Jesus did, well, that's great. But you can't mentally force your body to exercise or to eat or to not eat something. Then there's an element of temperance that's missing, right? So ultimately, our why and the why for our clients is we're always trying to bring them back to the who and not the what. It's good to have what's like certain pant size, body fat percentage, whatever. Those are all fine and good, but it's going to come and go, right? And what happens when you hit it? What do you do then? Then are you just working out for fear of losing it, right? But if you're wise at who, namely, we're trying to be more like Jesus, and if you're married, then ultimately your who's are all around you, right? And so kind of bringing always back to this Catholic view, because in the secular world, in secular gym spaces, they're working out because if there's nothing after this life, then yeah, you have to optimize this life because you're going to die one day, and you want to live as long as possible. For us, it's like, no, there's heaven on the other side of this. And so it's not about living as long as possible out of fear of nothing being on the other side. It's like, no, we know there's something on the other side. But while we're here, we want to be able to serve to the best of our abilities, right? I want to be able to get on the floor with my grandkids or watch my great grandkids one day so my grandkids can go out and have a date or something like that. I want to be able to give to the church. And about a third of our clients are actually priests and religious. And so for them, it's like, yeah, I want you to celebrate mass till you're like 95 years old, dude. Like, I want you to keep giving back. And so it's that element of self mastery for self gift is what we always say. And
Yeah,
so that's the foundation behind our company.
that's awesome. What's it been like? So you said you were in New York.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, for when I worked for the Arch, and that was 2019. We came back to Texas. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, what brought you? What brought you to close to Austin? What's that kind of been like being in the Austin area, where I know it's like highly entrepreneurial,
Yeah.
can be highly secular. Like, what's it been like kind of being there?
Yeah, so we came here originally. Well, I'm from Houston originally, but my wife's from Phoenix, and my wife was actually an acting major in school, which is why part of the reason we were in New York. But then we got pregnant, and hard to act in New York City when you're pregnant. And so we came to the Austin area partly so she could continue to pursue that career if she wanted to. Ironically enough, now she runs the company with me. She's a coach and trainer with me. She does all our marketing stuff. But she actually does still do some film stuff like for fun every now and then. But yeah, the cool thing about it is that there are other entrepreneurial Catholics that like I'm just friends with, right? And we're in totally different industries, but I have a few friends, and we all are running our own companies, right? We're all kind of doing our own thing, and so we can kind of bounce ideas off of each other, which is awesome, right? And so I think if I was still primarily only hanging out with people maybe in ministry full times or kind of in the traditional 9 to 5, not that there's anything wrong with that, but it would make me feel a lot more isolated because you know nobody's taking risk. If nobody's taking risk around you, it's a lot harder for you to take risk, right? And so when I was been kicking around the idea of going full time for probably a year or two now, and I was kind of reinvesting everything back into the company, and they were just being like, yeah, dude, do it. Like, what are you doing? Like, what's your strategy? And so having that support system is just awesome. I mean, it's been amazing.
That's awesome. What's as a husband and dad too, kind of what have you learned has been some of the challenges, some of the fun parts about diving into business, being an entrepreneur and having a family?
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason that when I went full time, part of the attractiveness for me is like I want to be able to be the best husband and father I can, which means controlling my schedule. And the hard part of entrepreneurship is, you tend to work more when it's your own baby, right? And so definitely trying to find that balance. But like, in May, we spent 10 days down at the beach where my dad lives, and I just worked from the beach house, right? And my kids were at the beach every day, at the pool every day, hanging out, having fun. And the ability to like block off my calendar if I need to help my wife run some errands or like take the kids to swim lessons on Tuesdays and Thursdays, right? So um could I be doing something to like make more money? Yeah, I could. But ultimately, I have to remind myself, like, yes, we're this weird combination of business and ministry. We're trying to help the church. We're trying to help people genuinely. But ultimately, my primary vocation is on the other side of these doors, right? It's like it's my wife, it's my kids. And so if I'm not setting up my schedule in such a way to make time for them, then something's off. And so I've actually made it a point to block off my calendar, once a week in the morning to take one of my kids on like a little mini donut date, right? Yes, I'm a trainer. I have a donut once a week. It's okay. And so I have 3 kids, and so once a week I'm taking one of them on a one-on-one with dad, and every Thursday my wife and I have a lunch date, right? And now it helps that we run the company together, and so part of that lunch is also just like, hey, what do we need to do work-wise? But it's also a chance for us to connect. And so scheduling out those times so I can be a present husband and father, right? So that's been one of the biggest blessings because, as you know, if like you're working for somebody else, it's like you can't really do that depending on your job. And so I've had to really kind of hold myself accountable to like the reason I'm doing all of this is to spend more time is to be present husband and father, right? And so that's been pretty cool to see.
Yeah. What's your favorite aspect of the mobile app?
Yeah, well, so I think one of the coolest things for me is just like people actually have direct access to me, which I know can sound kind of intimidating, crazy, and sometimes there's a lot of messages to go through. But like it makes it personalized. Like we're actual people on the other end of this company. We're not just like some machine corporation, like wanting you to have access to the workout. So we have a community board. People have access to me for questions because the reason I do this is because I'm trying to help people, right? Now every once in a while somebody like asks so many questions where I'm like, okay, you're essentially asking for one-on-one coaching, so apply. But most of the time people understand that there's general advice and stuff like that. So the ability for me to actually work with people to help people to answer real life questions and is pretty awesome. It's almost you can't put a price on it because a lot of people genuinely need help, or you can make a workout plan and that's all fine and good, but if you don't know how to apply it to your situation or how to make adjustments and stuff like that, then you could Google workout plans, right? You don't have to pay for one. So yeah, so the ability to actually have interactions and get to know my members and like actually have relationships with them and understand where they're coming from has been pretty awesome.
Very cool. What's it been like working with like priests and religious? Like, you said that makes up a third of your
Yeah.
clients. Like, What's that experience like? Is it any different than working with just like lay people?
Yes and no, right? I mean, the one thing, if you've ever worked in ministry, it's like you learn really quickly that priests and religious are normal human beings too. Like, they're people too. And so the weirdest thing I have to do sometimes is call them out, right? And just call out their BS because they got BS just like anybody else, right? And they're like, "Oh no, I was so busy," and I'm like, "What time did you wake up this morning?" 8 o'clock. I'm like, yeah, so you probably could have got it done if you just woke up early. Like, so every once in a while, like, "Oh, I had to go to a Knights of Columbus thing and they had pizza." I'm like, did they force feed you the pizza? Like, they make you eat the pizza? Oh no. I'm like, so you probably could have just had just one slice and ate something later, right? Well, I could. So that's kind of because usually it's the other way. Priests are used to being the authority figure, right? And kind of giving advice down. Sometimes it's just, at first it was really weird for me and I was always hesitant to do it. But now after doing it for so long, I'm just like, no, I'll call your BS out. That's why you're hiring me. That's why you're paying me. um, but at the same time, understanding that they live radically different lives, right? And so sometimes their schedules, yeah, they got a hospital call at 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, like, yeah, I wouldn't have woken up either. Like I would have slept in, and so um trying to be empathetic to the fact that it is a very radically different lifestyle. But while at the same time, like I said, not letting their BS slide because sometimes it is just making excuses, right? Like, yeah, grandma gave you a cake. You didn't actually have to eat it, like you could have like had a bite, and then donated it, given to your staff or thrown it away. Like, it's one of those things of teaching them to navigate saying no,
Hmm.
and stuff like that. So it's been pretty cool. But yeah, so there's some empathy involved, understanding it is a radically different lifestyle, but at the same time, still teaching them temperance, right? The priests
Right.
have to learn. Priests aren't saints yet, right? They're trying to be, but they're not, and so they still have elements to grow and learn in, and for virtue to grow in. So
Totally. Um, what has been the most surprising part of this journey, um, starting this business and getting your first clients to the point where you are now launching a mobile app? What's been the most surprising part for you?
yeah, oh gosh, that it works. Like, it's like, I don't know, like, like a lot of entrepreneurs, there were several points throughout this thing where I wanted to quit, and I was like, man, is this even a thing? Is this a need? Like, I don't know. Like, you go a couple months and crickets, no new clients kind of thing. And just trusting the process, right? And that's why I say we're this weird combination of business and ministry because we're an LLC, like we're a for-profit company. We have to pay the bills. Now, what's cool, we actually are starting a nonprofit arm to help fund priests and religious, but um, and so for me, it's like understanding that it's okay to do like paid ads. It's okay to charge a price for things, right? Because I can't help people if they don't know I exist. And I can't pay for them to know I exist if I don't pay other people or charge other people, right? And so for me, coming from a ministry background, a nonprofit background, just learning the ins and outs of that, like, that's a great thing about being Catholic. It's like there's nowhere in the Catholic Church that says you can't have a business and charge people. Like, no, it's like it's opposite. Like you have to, there's justice to be, paid out in the distribution of goods. And so um yeah, so kind of navigating those waters, and then the surprising thing is like, yeah, like obviously people want to do it because there we have a lot of people on our platform, a lot of people doing one-on-one coaching all over the world, and which is cool.
Definitely. Chase, where can people like find and keep up with you and find like the app, get a free trial, like all those things?
Yeah, so everything happens through our website. So we don't want Apple and Android and Google to take a third of our money. So everything you just sign up on through the websites, and so hypurofit.org. So HYPUROFIT.org. From there, you can apply for one-on-one coaching. You can get your 2-week free trial of the app, or you can just like download. We have a free PDF called the Heroes Hour, which kind of is all about like starting your day right. And so yeah, everything's through the website. We're also on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all that good stuff.
Perfect. Cool. I'll link that below. Chase, thank you so much for taking the time to be here to chat. It's good to get to know you and your business. I think it's a great concept. It's beautiful. I'll definitely check it out. Yeah, thanks and best of luck to your future endeavors here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mitch. I appreciate it.
God bless.
God bless.